What is up, everybody? This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent. We're doing a little live daily chat. This is Monday, August 15th, 2022. It is OPEX, CHOPEX. It is a Monday. Lot of stuff to talk about. Wow. Holy crap. All the stuff that I'm reading going on in the world. Yep. What is the market doing? Popping. Seems to be ignoring it now. That's why we need to talk about all this. And if you are newer to trading or just trading in general and this is your livelihood, we gotta talk. It's not gonna be easy. So just letting people come in. Give me a few comments below just so I can see who's around, see what friends and family are involved today. Maybe some newer folks. And also just a mic check. Mic check 1, 2. What is this? The 5-footer back with the roughneck business. Float like gravity. Never had a cavity. Got more rhymes than one that has family. If any of y'all remember Tribe Called Quest. One of my favorite bands growing up, or groups. All right, cool. Alexa, turn on the lights. Let's do this.
Okay.
Thank you. So at this point going on with the market, it's pretty clear to me that we've got like multiple streams of information and things that are going on that are making this really, really hard. You've got a ton of short interest in the ES. You got sentiment at extreme bullishness. You got OPEX. You got the feds trying to communicate to the markets like, stop buying risk assets. We're about to QT. We're not pivoting. I mean, you literally have what I consider maybe the perfect storm going on around us, and we're in the eye of the hurricane. You know, like the quietness where the market just seems... Now, again, if you'd had no clue what was going on in the world, you'd be like, huh. Okay, this seems like a nice rise in the market. We should continue on. Everything's fine and dandy. As we all know, the market is a future discounting mechanism. As we know, the market is trying to take the most amount of money from the most amount of people. At this point, it's really, really suspect. Now, again, this very much reminds me of August 2015, which if you're not familiar, again, it wasn't even a bear market, but it was just China issues. It's like, say China 3 times. You can do it. Let me take you back. And it was August of 2015. And this was one of the more interesting trade setups I ever was a part of. Now remember, these charts are my backup computer charts. I don't really draw on these other for the videos. It got pretty hairy. As you might see, you had OPEX and then pow. Now what was going on in China? A lot of stuff, as usual. Their games that they play. They were creating derivatives backed by stock. Not by debt or cash, they're just stock. The market just pressed them on that, and kapow, they had some issues. Again, they have never-ending issues over there, because why? It's a country where, you know, do you really trust the banking system? I mean, I feel like anytime you make money there, you're just trying to take it out. Long-term investing there seems pretty suicidal, right? Because at any point, your capital is what? Going to be taken? Stolen? I mean, whatever best way you want to describe it. So, is there any particular topic or any questions people have to start off? Because I think I'll just go from there, and then I can just rattle through all the stocks that I'm watching. Give it a second. Drop a comment. We have excellent connection. Oh, did my Tesla order go through? No. Trying to buy some December calls on Tesla Q. Just a few of them, the 38s. Just the bid-ask spreads are a mile wide. Not in putting in limit orders. They're not being very friendly. Yeah, there's not a ton of say at this point. Like, I'm not surprised we were down at the open. I'm not surprised we're rallying back. Again, some of the things that I did to stop out is because I was in at levels that I really wasn't comfortable with on shorts. I mean, you guys remember the days that we got in, right? It was this day, and some of the levels on things, well, continue to whack us out, right? Or, I mean, Friday just was... So this day held hope. And again, trading on hope. And then what? Went slightly, when we broke out. And it was like, game over. Gone. All right, now how do you look at things? How do you want to reposition things? How do you want to put yourself in a position so that when what? The market does start moving in your favor, which ideally, again, I don't know if this is going to be a violent blowout. This is where it's going to get incredibly difficult. Because sentiment, I mean, everybody's bullish. You look at the retail sentiment gauges, they're all pinning out bullish again. You got bears wiped out. I mean, if you're a bear and you've been, keep in mind, like, we were bullish down here based on the breakout of the channel. Those same folks who were bear, and winning for long periods of time are now, as the market likes to say, destroyed. Just absolutely carnage. Because they didn't cover, or if they are, they, more likely what happens to bears who are up big for the year is that they just keep trying to short each successive pop. And then what happens? The shotgun explodes in their face at some point. So at this junction, we've said the upside seems likely. But now I want to start taking little stabs today. I mean, close to the high as possible, just to layer back in. I'm not going crazy. If I'm buying puts, I'm buying the Octobers or Decembers. I'm literally giving myself ample runway because I don't know near term. If I get trapped, which happens with options, I want to give myself time. I'd rather buy less of them to be correct in time than try to buy next week's, or this week's. I know a lot of folks asked me over the weekend, what do you think about these options that expire next week, like this week? And I'm like, ooh, I don't know. And it's not like an I don't know, trying to be mean. It's like, I really don't know. I mean, you are putting yourself in a position to really coin flip. And you might ultimately be right. And that's what's kind of shitty. And that's what I'm trying to keep people from doing, right? If you're going to trade, right? If you're actually going to start trading correctly in the market, especially with options, it's like, if you're day trading, in and out. If you got into puts today and you were buying weeklies, you're wrong, you're gone. You're not sitting here going, well, I'll give it another day, another few hours. No, you know your exact loss. Say you buy $2,000 worth of puts, you're willing to lose $200. Say the options, and this is what sucks, is that say the options are $1. You can't go below 80 cents, and with the spreads and how the market's acting, you literally might just, it's just a complete instant loser. Everything that I've bought put-wise today is slightly down. Tried to get as high as possible, but I don't, you know what I mean? That's where layering in. I don't expect to, unless the market tanks, which, that's ideal. We don't know. It's the Monday before OPEX. As y'all know, you kind of have this up and down flow to OPEX. We'll see. It's going to be the up early, as we talked about, right? A lot of us talked about up early. You have capital. You must have capital. You can't be sitting here going all in short. If you want to trade around it, I get it. If you're thinking of certain things, no problem. But if you're getting into shorts right now with the expectation of winning right away and giving yourself no runway, man, you're really rolling the dice. And that's the thing. I used to do that. And what did I learn? I'm like, don't do that. Especially if you're trying to swing trade. So let's rip through the charts. We'll just do them one by one. The dollar, if China's crapping out, we talked about the blue zone, this point of control. Now you're breaking downtrend, you're at the 20-day, but seems the market is ignoring it. Well, I guess there's hedges coming off. And that's what's kind of crazy here is that, all these hedges on the ES, they have to be unwound. Maybe that's where you're getting this gamma squeeze. And it's like the market is just what I would say. So think about it. If you're, an institutional investor, big hedge fund, big money manager, you shorted ES as a hedge for your portfolio, right? Well, as the market starts ripping higher and higher and higher, you have this position that is minimizing, not minimizing, it's curtailing your potential profits. And so this is what's so funny about big dumb money. They've got what? Hedges they have to unwind, right? And they're not doing it at the lows. Does this make sense how you can kind of get this like weird terminal velocity? I mean, think about it. Individual stocks are going to act, slightly individualistically, but they'll all kind of work together. But I've seen this before. I mean, we saw this in 2021. Big time. And what was it? Everybody bought, sorry, not every, the market started rising and institutions were, shorting the ES futures big time, right? Because why? They thought COVID was, what it was, right? It was a fucking mess. Lockdowns are crap. Well, the Feds kept stimulating, so it was almost like the money kept coming in, and it's like they had these hedge positions. And so what happened? They got their balls squeezed off, right? So where we're at with the dollar, clearly, China issues, world issues coming in. Money's coming into the dollar. I mean, I've said this, and I say it every time. Please leave gold, silver alone. Leave all of this crap alone. Why? Because it doesn't really make sense for the market to, dollar to peak on what? A failure. It's going to be one of these epic monster rockets up. I've said this a million times. It's not the opposite. It's not what you think it's going to be. It's not a market. It's not a dollar tank. It's the opposite. It's the Tesla blow off. It's the tech blow off. It's the big up. If the market is really going to tank. Sorry, not the market, the dollar. I keep saying market like it's the dollar. No. Apologize. Like if the dollar's really done, it's going to the moon first. Think about every meme stock before they die. They go to the moon. The moon. Right? They're going to go get that cheese. So if the safest thing in my mind, climbing the wall of worry, is it's going to be the dollar. And we've said this about 1,375 times now. If you look at the monthly, parity is up here in the 29s. What is it doing, right? You had this smaller breakout and you backed off, right? You backed off first. Test the top of the range and you back off. Does this make sense? What's going on? So it back off. Well, I think at some point, when the Feds say they're going to raise and everyone gets, they stop trying to pretend. Let me adjust my fibs. They stop trying to pretend, like the market actually wakes up to the fact that what? The dollar, they're going to be raising rates again. This should pop up. Now, what is the, upside? It's probably going to be some upside extension fib. And if we want to talk about complete and just utter destruction, just assume the dollar is going to destroy. Think of it as like a plague. It's just going to open up the dam, or think of a dam breaking. I mean, you don't really know how much pressure is built up behind it, but I would be willing to bet that there's a lot of places, countries, world, euro, the dollar short denomination out there. And it's like, still, people are going to want dollars when crap hits the fan. And it'll probably lead to like that point where the dollar becomes so valuable that you have to sell it. Does this make sense? I'm not trying to ramble on something, but it's like this never-ending feeling that people have, like the dollar, because again, they read Zero Hedge, they read how bad the economy is and how the dollar's done, and it's, remember, think of it, even the market, think about the currency market, it's still manipulated. I hope this makes clear sense, because I think a lot of people have this death of the dollar moment where it just blows up. Well, I think it actually goes up, then it comes down. Like, that to me makes all sense. Like, that's how everything tops, right? Think of your favorite stock. It went on a freaking rocket ship, and then it fails. Then it was like, oh, you owned it forever, and it went nowhere. We've all been there. We've been that and seen that in gold. You might be seeing that in Bitcoin for a couple of years. I mean, I don't know. But hopefully it's clear as day. The Vixen, I'm going to roll through that. Cool, makes sense. I got one person saying it. I was oh, I don't need the monthly. No. Look at the Vixen here. It's kind of holding this 24, 25. It's not kind of. It is holding it, right? Let me clean this up. I haven't looked at this on this chart or on this computer in a while. You can see very clearly what? What are you doing? You can see very clearly that there is a point of control down here in the 24s. Now, if you don't know what the Vixen is, it's the VIX of the Qs, essentially. It's literally the same thing, just instead of a I, it's an N in a little different order. Look what's going on down here. We're back at the April lows, right? Is the Vixen, in your opinion, Dan, ever going back down to the 20s? Ooh. I mean, I don't know. People will argue, you're breaking the downtrend, or you're breaking the uptrend, Dan. And it's like, no, I see that. I'm not an idiot. But there are certain levels where I think it doesn't really make sense. It's a bear market, right? Like, you're holding above the old bull market lows. Or highs, sorry. Let me stretch this guy across. Does that become clear now that this area is a massive point of control? So if you are deciding to buy puts at these levels, does it make sense that this is a very reasonable area? It's not like we're drawing straws and going, well, let me just roll the dice and crapped out. Is this clear, right? Like, there's not, we're not in this gamble phase. And again, I don't ever want people to think that. Like, that's not what we do. It's all controlled risk reward. So there's your Vixen. VIX, I mean, this is like the VIX of the VIX. If you can look at this, you can see what the VIX of the VIX is holding up pretty damn well, because it typically precedes spikes. Again, I haven't done enough research on the VIX to really say I have an edge of understanding of it. Someone else might be able to follow it. The UVXY, what about it? It's just a piece of shit. Can I say that on live stream? I've told people a million times, like, you don't want to be in the UVXY early, ever. Ever. But people don't listen, and it happens. You have to lose a lot of money in the UVXY first to realize that you're just a fish when you play in that game. I mean, that ETF is literally just, as I've said, it's the best trade on it is to always short the spikes on it. How low will it go? I mean, I thought 9s, but now we're in the 8s. So, I mean, you tell me. Again, if you're layering into it, I think you're probably safe in the 8s and the 9s, right? How low can it go? I mean, I've said at worst now, I think you probably get down into the 18s on the VIX, but that would mean the Vixen drops below the 24, 25 range. So, I mean, again, $5, no, probably not that low. I mean, again, this is why I tell you, like, don't chart it. It doesn't really tell you. It just keeps decaying and decaying. So if you're like, oh, I bought the VIX. I mean, I had people tell me, I bought the VIX at 10 and 11. It's retesting the low. Jesus effing Christ. Like, why? Oh, well, I chart the UVX. No, you never chart the UVXY. Promise me for the rest of your life, you will never chart it. You will never chart it. You just watch the VIX. And then you look at what the price of the UVXY is. And again, just remember it decays. So you're not ever in this like, oh, let me wait for the $5 range. Let me wait for the... No, doesn't work like that. That's the biggest retail misconception with how a lot of these decaying ETF works. Is like, oh, let me chart that ETF. No, hell no. No. Don't chart the leverage ETF, ever. Chart the what? The ETF it literally follows. That's how you chart those things, and then you'll wait for the prices to be at whatever the hell they're at. And I mean, I said weeks ago, I thought UVXY 8, 9. I mean, I was like, please don't buy it at 10. So if people have it, here's your lesson. You either can figure it out now, or you just got to get burned again. So at this point with the VIX, you see there's not much downside, but this is what's going to get interesting. Is the VIX is probably going to start spiking if the market gets into this accelerated up move. Because why? People are going to start hedging with puts this rip higher. I mean, think about it. If I had to cover my ES shorts that I was down I was long stocks, but I wanted to also hedge the squeeze. At some point, you have to look at the puts as the cheapest way to do that. You see how like this is rather confusing? Because I mean, in the sense that most people will never see know what's going on how with big money, and they use obviously ES futures as hedges, right? Long and short, and they use puts and calls, right? Well, right now you've got an extreme in the ES short from what I gather. I mean, again, I don't have Bloomberg Terminal, and so maybe I could be wrong, but from what I've noticed from the people posting. And then also if the put call ratios are pretty high, I mean, it's just, you don't know. But this is the hard thing right now, right? Is like there's nothing bullish out there. Like, what is the market anticipating? Can someone tell me what I should be anticipating? What should we be anticipating that's going to be good for the market? Everyone says midterm election. Well, yeah, the government spends a bunch of money. Well, keep in mind, they're about to go what? On vacation. Their August recess. So that's done. There's no more bills coming, right? At this point, we know what it is. Like, someone tell me something that would be considered bullish that we should anticipate. I mean, I'll sit here and probably get some jokes, but I really don't think there is much. And again, I'm trying to discount and be thoughtful of it, because that's how we literally picked the bottom in June and into July and traded it. You know, we knew the CHIPS Act was coming. We didn't know the anti-inflation, create more inflation act was coming. But whatever, it played out either way. It's really hard. I mean, honestly, I see China, it's falling apart quicker than people know, are being honest. And at this point, Europe is a hot mess. We've got issues. I mean, we've got Weekend at Bernie's being our president. Is he really alive? Question mark. I mean, again, it's not political. I don't think he really knows what's going on. Do you guys trust Congress to actually do anything? And if you're the Republicans, you're not trying to get anything passed. You want the Democrats to eat this hard. So they're not really looking to help each other out. I mean, what? Somebody explain to me, other than the price action, what is bullish going forward? It's really hard. Now, again, that's what the market does, right? It's a mass confusion in a trader's market. Now, again, even in a bull market, you get like these moves that are dropped down, and you're like, what, huh? Why is this going to affect the market? And you go, okay, well, I'll buy that dip. Well, think of it reverse. Like, what is going on? Why is the market higher? I'm going to short that pop. Like, that's kind of the mindset I'm in. Anyway, SPY, I'll just start getting into levels. Because, again, I don't think anyone can really say anything positive other than it's a day. We've got days coming up. It's the summer. I don't know. People should be having fun, living their life. The SPY, what do we know? This is the hardest part about charting, is you get like these blowouts. And this is what I've said. There's 3 scenarios about to play out. The blowout of the channel before the reversal. Remember how we had this nice smooth down channel? Can y'all see this clearly? Like, it should be, this is how we were talking about riding the lightning, riding the bottom. This is the bottom. You always break out of it. This is the accelerated, oh shit, everybody's bearish confirmation. We're going to go to the dirt, right? Wrong. Gap down, doji, professional gap, start of the up move, retest and go. And this is honestly what I'm thinking near term is my nearer term stuff. This is the kind of move that I will take that all off on. That counter drop. It's going to be a drop. It'll probably be, I don't know, somewhere in the 410 range. My guess is like, it'll be 20 points. What is this? This one was 462 up to 492, 30 points. Okay, we'll do the math in the 430s. I guess 400 to 410. Do we all agree like the first drop will probably find buyers? And so that's where your nearer stuff will probably need to be taken off, rotate your, adjust your core positioning to whatever it's going to be. Well, what are the three scenarios? You short arm it. Everybody's, again, this is one of the hardest things here where everybody's a chartist now, right? Like, there was an edge to charting alone, but now it's not, right? Now it becomes like one of these games where do we get right to the channel and the 200-day? Do we short arm it, or do we blow over it and test like the 435 area, 433? These all become questions that are hard, and this is where all or nothing trading. This is how you get screwed, because if you go all in too early, wrong positioning, your belief systems they're taking over your actual rational thoughts. Like you don't get into a trade and go, I'm gonna lose money. I'm gonna short and I can't wait to cover higher. I can't wait to buy low and then sell lower. You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem here, and that's why having these conversations with folks and just making them aware how I think, how you think, like we all think. We're all slightly biased, right? Our goal is to be. My question is, Dan, are you trading well? Are you unbiased? And are you actually trying to do what the market's doing, not what you want to see? And that's where it's so hard here, is like, think about it. At the lows, you couldn't find anything bullish. The only thing I saw bullish was that CPI would not keep increasing, meaning that oil, you could see it was coming down, right? It's down $30 a barrel. So naturally, you could just see how the government was going to say, oh, look at this. We've done our job. We've released so much SPR. It's great for everybody. No, Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Now what, right? You've got one of those three scenarios. And if 1 out of 3 is what I'm thinking, like I'm into the blue zone, I'm going to start layering in. I might be, and now the stuff that I have for October and December, I'm a little more aggressive, right? It makes sense. Why? October/December, that feels like light years away, right? And again, I'm not buying out of the money puts. I'm buying at the money or slightly in the money. Like, I'm giving myself time, and I'd rather buy less puts. And again, this is the thing I think people don't realize, is that at the highs and the lows, going big on risky puts is the wrong time, right? Like, I'm trying to create a core position that I'll trade around. Then ultimately, once the trend is in our favor, now I can start risking the 2 and 3 week or the weeklies. Does this make sense? Like, that's the time to really start get aggressive. Like, the trend is not confirmed. You know how I say the trend is your friend? You've heard that before. Is it makes sense that you would be going aggressively at the money, out of the money, short dated options at this point? Is there anybody out there who doesn't understand that and why we do that? And if you do understand it, like, what's your plan? I don't mind reading it and trying to parse through it. But I hope that's clear as day. Like, yeah, just get the core ready, get that dialed in, keep some cash, and be ready. Because when it does start, now you can start punching this thing. And it doesn't matter if it was up or down. It's the same mentality. Like, the biggest money is when the trend is in your favor. Like Livermore, like he says, wait, sitting on his hand. Well, zero doubt, Livermore would know once he knew the trend was in his favor, that's where his punch, that's where he got aggressive, right? So, not much talk. I'll just keep rolling through. QQQ. I'll speed this up if everyone's just listening. What's the upside? Man, everyone's calling for the 200-day. Yeah, plan is to lever up on the retest after the big drop. Absolutely. Plan is to lever up once what? We know for a fact what's going on. We know that the trend is down. And it might be September. We don't know. We really don't know. Here we go. Is it going up to 200-day? No way. It is lagging hard. IWM. This one leads, right? We talked about the IWM leading. It's up at the 200-day. Everybody's remembering the 100-day. Now we broke the downtrend. Problem is, look at the volume. It's just getting lower and lower and lower. It's like think of like the heartbeat. Your pulse is just dying. Why does the 200-day do this on this computer? It's like it'll go back in time and catch up. Now it's there. Did you all notice stocks are up, indexes are down? Yeah, I mean, there's individual names. I don't really see much upside left in the IWM. I don't know. Could you get to the 50% fib up in the 205s? That, to me, would be the max. Gold. Let's talk about shattered dreams. No, I mean, I've said this every video. Gold is the double bottom king. Double bottom king. Double bottom. Double bottom pop. Double bottom. Double bottom. Double top. Blow off head and shoulders. Multi bottom. Double top. Do we see a trend? Do we see, not a trend, but do we see a reoccurring pattern with gold? It does a lot of retesting, right? I'm just amazed. People, I'm like, look at the volume. Do you think the market maker, again, because the market maker is a volume seeking entity. Without the volume, there's no reason to mark up a stock because they don't have any. Think about it. If they were unloading on Ukraine, tell me where they set the floor. Can anyone see anywhere in gold where they have set the floor? Do you see the volume at the lows where it sticks out and you go, that's where the market makers took their stand? Bueller. No. So, what does that tell me? Gold is not ready. What have we always said? Wait for the Fed to pivot. Wait for the first major spike in the VIX, like in the 40s or 50s, when the Feds have to capitulate. Then and only then. Now again, could we be late? Maybe. Absolutely not. Let the floor set the floor. Yep. Let the volume set the floor. Let the volume set the floor. Yes. There's nothing here in gold. Leave it alone. I mean, I got people trying to convince me like I'm missing something. I'm like, let me show you what I'm seeing, and you tell me if I'm wrong. Here we go. We hit the upside in like the 1819s. Gaps down. Again, silver is the ultimate purgatory. The best time to buy silver is what? When the Feds pivot. Like 2020, you got the spike. And then what? 2008. Other than that, dead money. I mean, you can play it seasonally, which we do. It always typically bounces in mid-OPEX, like it bottoms mid-OPEX in December, like every year, and you get a pop. Here, I'll show you that. If you're not familiar with this, I'm going to call this the Eric special because he's like, I'm going to quit trading gold until mid-December every year. Or gold and silver. Here you go. December, or sorry, actually, shit, 12-1 was the bottom. Then it backed up, then it went. What's up, Cat? Always so vocal. Mid-December, bounce. Do you see how this is just a pretty much set in stone thing? Mid-December, December, bounce. Now again, it's like what day in December? Don't ask me that. Don't. What day do we have to set our alarm for December? It's like, I don't know, man. Here you go. This mid-December. Just start fishing in December if you're near the lows. Every December. Every December. Do you get it? It's not a bad plan, really. No, it's probably the best plan out there. Maybe we should just stop trading until December. If you want the guaranteed easiest trade, it's gold, silver, December. Oh, TLT, low of the day. Market must just love that. GDX, again, maybe okay volume, but again, no. Remember, take notes. All we're buying, yeah, fish around December. No doubt. That FOMC. Yep, exactly. Thank you. Look at GDXJ. Got back up to the December, or I'm like on December mode. May lows. GDX, not even close. Not even close. So what is that telling you, folks? When you want to buy miners, are you going to buy the GDX or are you going to buy the GDXJ? What are we going to buy if we win and then when the miners get absolutely bludgeoned? What are we going to buy? I hope it's very clear. It's not the GDX and it's not large miners. The J, yeah, definitely. It's clear as day. So, I mean, if you like Newmont and you like, I mean, yeah, like JNUG, no doubt. don't even think twice about this. Like, think about the cycle of what's about to happen. Do you think all these legacy gold miners are really sitting there with a ton of reserves? Or is it the ones that are speculating with the most potential? Does that make sense? Like, think about this when the oil bull market started. Like, Exxon and then Chevron went into a buying spree, right? Because they had oil, but they were like, whoa, if prices are going higher, we need way more. So Exxon, Chevron, might do some, I don't think they really did secondaries, but they printed a lot of debt. Not printed, sold a lot of debt. I mean, obviously it's going to eat into their margins. Just naturally, just think about it. Do you want to buy the junior stocks? I mean, think of in the bull market when when the bear market's over. Do you want to buy the IWM or you want to buy the S&P 500? Right? Off the lows, you want to probably buy the IWM. Makes sense. Same thing. All these miners don't care. Only one, and again, if swing traders on here, my boy Mohamed, he loves the stock, and I tell him, I do too. AEM. I mean, you got volume. This is the volume unlocking mechanism. Now what? At some point, set your alarms for the 30s, sub 40s. Now, keep in mind, I keep saying keep in mind, but there's a lot of stuff to just be cognitive of that. This could make, if the market goes VIX 50, VIX 60, I don't know, 38 could become 35, and then it come back to 38. So just be prepared for that. And just write that in your notes. When you're hunting the bottom in the miners and the metals, you can get temporary moves way below a certain price. Well, why the VIX? When the VIX blows out, there isn't rational, cognitive, slow thinking. It's, oh my God, the house is on fire, grab the jewelry and run. Like, that's what people start doing, and they just sell everything. And there doesn't, always I'm late amazed. People are like, well, what's the best level? It's like, support resistance goes out the window, right? I mean, I traded heavily in the 2008 bear market, 2009, and when it started going, I mean, it was like people were like looking at certain, the financial stocks, obviously, like, hey, let's look at Bear Stearns at $100 a share, like right through it. You saw certain stocks just absolutely beaten, and they made no sense, and it was like, wow, it's trading at X percentage of its value. It's just pow, 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 pow. But if you bought on those days of extremes, you were ultimately rewarded, but it's just picking the exact bottom. It was like, no, you're hunting in the right, it's like pretending you're, like, think of it as more of like long-term thought process. Like, you're buying a permit and the land to scout out to hunt later. Like, there's a ton of elk there. Like, that's kind of the thinking, not, oh, you're buying that elk. Good luck. You're trying to figure out exactly what animal you're going to kill. Like, no, you just got to get in there. And if you want to look at an example, let's look at I'm trying to think of what was really volatile then. Where is Mr. Goldman Slacks? They survived. Y'all love this. Let's go back in the time machine. 2007, 2008. Here was August of 2007. 234 down to 150. Rally back. Whee! Fail. Look at that. March of 2008. Fall of 2009. What's the downside here? It was pretty crazy because everybody, all these banks are going out of sale, and people are already saying, like, well, these stocks they're majorly on sale. They're on sale, Belly. Bob was the highs, but 250. Yeah, they didn't have it that bad. Buffett also bailed them out. He got, I think, warrants or preferred stock very quickly to balance out their cash problems. But think about it. If you're like, oh, I'm gonna buy this at 142, it's like, this is gone, and then it came right back, and it's like, total carnage. That's what I'm hoping. And again, I can't help but do the sounds. They just feel natural because that's how it felt then. That you ultimately saw just absolute murder. And pull up really any stock. Let me see if I'm trying to think of who is like really a leader then, who's still a leader now. There's not a ton of them. Because again, that's what markets do. Like, bull markets lead to bear markets, which leads to new leadership. Yeah, I mean, look at Disney. Just, it's like, where do you want to buy it? You know, people are just sitting here screaming, buy, 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 buy. And it's like, you went from, what's crazy, 36 down to 15. Seems like a big deal, right? Well, now you go to current days Disney. This is what I'm trying to explain to people, like, to do a 50% retracement of 14 to 200, right? That was the first one, 100. Now, is it done? This is where it gets so hard, because think about it. Like, think about before COVID. Look what the liquidity pushed into this market. It pushed names to higher highs. That's why it feels like this bear market is going to be probably what? It could be just a slobber knocker, right? Because you had the liquidity that pushed all this crap up. Well, of course, naturally it bottoms at the low, like the retested levels. But I mean, do you guys really think that the economy is set up for the long run to bottom at these prices? You know, like, this is where you start looking at the, you know, the SPY. Now, until the Feds pivot, maybe, you know, you don't know anything, but this is crazy action, right? You go from 70 up to 470s, right? What was it? 480s. You know, back at the 20 month. You know, talking about this in the Discord room, like, is it really ripping to new highs? Is the market really that confident in this? You know, meaning, like, is this, I mean, are we about to go, I mean, because this is the only way it goes higher, right? Is you have to print more money. There has to be liquidity flow. Now, do we trust the Feds that are going to QT? I don't know. You don't know. That's the only way this thing gets higher. Based on fundamentals, and again, not even really fundamentals, just the natural flow of the market. Think about every bull market leads to a bear market, which leads to what? A resetting of the economy, resetting of norms, resetting of leadership in the market. I mean, it happens every time. Like, the leaders, when it was Xerox, and I mean, I don't know, I can't remember all these names from the late 80s. And then it becomes the tech names, then it becomes the commodity names, and then it becomes tech again, and then it becomes, you know what I mean? Like, this is where this is hard, because at a sense, without the liquidity, we're not even, look where, this is the COVID lows. Is that scary to y'all to look at the market and say the COVID lows were 209? We're still at 428. Do you see why it's like one of those things where, well, does that mean Disney gets absolutely just destroyed later? Maybe. Do y'all see how dangerous this feels? Like, this is, remember how we talked about the rocket to blow out? You know, like, say the dollar, here you go. Here's the rocket. But people don't look at that. They look at the daily and they look at these smoother trends and they're like, oh, things seem so normal. It's like, I have never seen anything like this. I can't pull up the Nikkei, the new Nikkei 225, but that's literally the best comparison. Let me pull it up real quick. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is the Japanese stock market when they literally went endless QE. And from that point on, their market has done what? Dogged real hard. Oh, I'm like, what year is it? Yeah, it's the Mount Fuji. Here you go. Here is Japan. And here it is now. It's not even back. There it is. The Mount Fuji of stocks. Yeah, I mean, is the SPY the Mount Everest? The Q's the Mount Everest? That's the problem. People think this is some sort of game where stocks always go up. Well, it's always a liquidity game, right? Like, what's the true value of Disney? I mean, no one can agree on that. But at a certain point, it's always a multiple of cash flow, right? It's not necessarily revenue. It's a multiple of cash flow. Does that make sense? Like, how many times earnings would you be willing to pay? Well, in a decelerating market, in a recession, not that many. 2, 3 times earnings. I mean, that's how markets bottom, is when you get to these. Now, again, not the whole market as a whole typically hits like some sort of like 13 to 12 to 14 PE ratio usually at the bottoms. But if we blew out into the upper 20s, I can't remember. I'm trying to think of all the little ratios that Buffett follows the market values, the GDP, and all that stuff. I mean, we hit extremes. You know, think of like dot-com bubbles. Like this was double and triple that, right? In certain metrics. I don't see this ending well. Does this all make sense? Like it's not one of these things where you have to be bearish just to be bearish. Like actually step out and think about it. Like there's no way that we can continue the liquidity injections like we did from COVID, right? Like they always are going to at some point taper off. Right? Do y'all see how this ultimately ends? And is it, I mean, are we here? Right? Are we in some sort of the bigger bounce? I don't know. I hope this stuff helps. Again, I mean, I could go on rambling for another 20 or 30 minutes, but at this point, I'm just telling people, like, you gotta have your head in the game. You gotta think like someone like, you know, think about it. And I always love Tesla as the, like, example of stupidity. And people are like, what are you talking about? That's not stupid. And it's like, no, well, think about Tesla, right? Here is, you know, peak number 1 in the Himalayas or whatever that thing is. I don't remember, you know, whatever. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Point being is, remember the whole time it rode up, everybody what? Hated it, right? They were like, it's too expensive. It's not valued right. They can't be worth this. They can't be worth that. Do y'all remember the whole time? I mean, I still know people who've been shorting this thing who were shorting this thing in the 2000s in like 19, 20, 21 range, right? Everybody hated it, right? There's no valuation that made sense. Now that we get to the backside, where are the bears? Gone. Everybody's bullish. Does this just not boggle your mind that how dumb the market is? And that's why I call these people idiots. Because they're now what? They're projecting 5,000, 10,000 highs, right? Like, I'm not saying ultimately it couldn't get there in 5, 10, 15, 20. I have no clue. Maybe this turns into the ExxonMobil of the market. We don't know. But you see how, like, it's how the market makers murdered bears. Bulls were not involved, right? Now it's all retail buying. Does this make sense? So that if Tesla is one of the leaders of the market, does that not scare you to what the sentiment really is then, right? The market climbs a wall of worry, right? Now the market's climbing the wall of certainty. Huh? That retail, and again, think about it, retail screaming Apple, what? 200, 250. Stock just can't go down, right? I mean, look at this, nice and smooth, and it goes from 36 up to $1.80 in 3 years. What's the long-term projection on this? It can't be much higher, again, unless the feds do what? Go full stupid liquidity. And notice how it's been rising off the lows. Zero volume, right? It's just dying. I mean, you can see if this is the high, just lower, slightly, you know, chopping itself lower. So I hope this stuff helps. I don't know, other than at this point, you're at the trend line. Again, if you want to short Apple here, trust me, I just did this morning. I did not get 173. Trust me, I got 172, and I'm down a couple $100 on some options and down a couple $100 on shares. I am not happy, but I'm also not sitting here trying to. I'm not looking for a dollar move, right? So it's part of my risk profile. At this point, though, you're getting to the point where it makes sense. Does it start now? Cheapest solar stock in the market under a penny. Share buyback announced. Oh, God. Jesus. Penny stocks. Seeing more people get absolutely destroyed trading penny stocks. And the funny thing about penny stocks that a lot of people don't realize is that they're just another way to sucker money off from the market. But keep in mind, who buys penny stocks? Small accounts. It's like everybody's an equal opportunity loser. Like there's equal opportunity to lose as a big money, medium-sized money, and small accounts. So you got $2,000 a trade. Well, guess what? Let's jump into GSFI, right? Like, look at this thing. GSFI. Oh, great. They announced a buyback. Cool story. Yeah. Okay. I mean, this looks like the VIX. I don't even know. I see what I call a pump and dump. Now, how many penny stocks turn into real big stocks? Do y'all know this? Do y'all know the percentages of names that go from the penny board to actually the S&P 500? Does anyone want to take a guess of how many stocks go from Pennyland to the S&P 500 for long-term holds? Just one guess. 1 in 10? No. It's a fraction near zero. It's a derivative near zero. Yes, thank you, Eric. Think about it. When a stock IPOs, it IPOs at what? 5, 10, 15, 30, 40, $50 a share, right? For it to get into the pennyland post-IPO means what? Management has trashed the company. The business has no prospects. The company is now just a shell for money for the management to live a lifestyle of greatness. So, I mean, that's how you want to invest. Now, again, I'm not saying you can't trade this, but when someone comes in here and goes, check this out, I mean, by the time you and I know about this name, no one's buying, you know, we're not talking about it down here. No one is, right? It's only after the pop. Remember, the best advertisement for higher prices is higher prices, right? Bots don't get excited pumping names like this until what? It starts moving, because you're not going to buy it down here at, I can't even, what 00 is this? How can you get so low, right? 00. Does this make sense? Like, you get the news, it's time to buy. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know how to price this freaking thing. But now that it's time to buy, who's jumping into this? Is this, I mean, 750,000 shares of a zero. I don't know what that is. I mean, is this a I mean, again, like my charting software can't even process this. Is this how you want to trade? Do you want to gamble with the hopes of making big money, or do you want to speculate intelligently and win consistently? That's the mindset here. Hey, Dan, show me this penny stock. It's going higher. No. I mean, I've seen more people lose their livelihood and money they can't lose in penny stocks than anything combined. But somebody needs to buy it, and that's the thing. Somebody's got to play that game. It's like going to play the craps table, and somebody just has to bet on the snake eyes roll every time, or the hard 8 or the hard 6, and it's like unreal. Wow, my chart is ugly on this thing. Oof, oof, oof. Get me out of here. Nike. Yeah. I don't know, man. These are all names that look like the backside of the mountain. And at this point, how much higher? The 100-day maybe? Nike? 120? I don't know. Somebody sold this and the market maker absorbed it and it tightened up. But I didn't see like actual buying. I mean, I hate to see this is what can be very confusing, right? About a big volume candle that flips around later is, I mean, look at this thing. Open at the high, closes at the low. Man, the market makers are like, please just get it over 115 for a couple days. We'll see if we can unload all our shares. Possibly immense dilution because they were burning cash. What a great sign. That's all penny stocks do is burn cash. That's all they do. And when I say burn cash, this isn't like back in the 2000s where it was really hard to figure out what these people were doing with their money. Like, you're seeing like these penny stock management company, like the people running it, like you'll find that they're all of a sudden like doing extravagant, luscious things, fun things. Like they're out there just, I mean, I've seen it with miners. I was reading something about I can't remember, penny stock miner. Someone let me look at it, and I'm like, oh, I Googled the CEO and there's like pictures of him on a yacht, and it's like the market cap's like $10 million. Like, what's this dude doing? Like, I guarantee he's not really he doesn't give a shit about the mine. It's the perception that there's something going on. And it's a never-ending story of how to fool you. Do you guys get that? Like, Thanks, Mysterious Mysterious Market Maker. That's pretty funny. Do y'all see that? Like, it's just a game of trying to take your money. So if you're looking for certainty and you're going into the penny stock, it's like, I mean, it's literally, I mean, I don't even know how to compare it to a bet, because it's like a heads, you lose, tails, I win. I mean, how many people have literally sustained a trading career off of penny stocks? Keep in mind, institutions can't buy them. Like, big money can't buy penny stocks. Like, they have to, because what happens is they'll ultimately end up putting $100 in and they own the whole company. And so they have to either disclose that, or there's certain, think about mutual funds literally can't buy stocks under $5. But do you know anyone who is, I mean, is there a Warren Buffett of penny stocks? Have I missed that? Did I miss this guy? Is there some guy out there who is just like, I am the penny stock master, and I can tell you that this company bought at 5 cents is worth now going to be $100? Yeah, Play Trader magazine probably has the Warren Buffett of penny stocks on the front page. Yeah, it's a lottery ticket. But again, if you want to buy lottery tickets, why don't you buy the right options in stocks that are going to move? I mean, how many times have y'all seen the Friday special where we buy an option for like 50 cents, turn it into $2 or $3, maybe $5 if we're lucky? I'd rather speculate on options that are cheaper than a penny stock every day of the week. Now, again, keep in mind, what's the truth about both of them? They go to zero if you're wrong and you don't use stops. Penny stocks, this conversation, it's unbelievable how many times people are like, you got to check out this penny stock. And it's like, it's already started. Like, I want to see it when it's no one wants it. That's when all right, maybe this actually could be something. But after it rises 300, 500, 1,000%, you're going to jump on the penny stock train? Like, how gullible are these people, you, me, if to do that, right? Like, keep in mind, because think about in the market, it's someone has to be willing to pay a higher price for you to sell it at a higher price, right? Like, it has to have demand. Well, we're just going around pushing other suckers. You guys have seen The Wolf of Wall Street. That's all they were doing is pushing penny crap stocks. Like, they're literally the worst. Think about, I'm assuming everybody is old enough to have gone to a casino. Penny stocks are like the craps table for $1. And it's just everybody's smoking, everybody's poor, everyone looks like the bitter, bare-faced woman from that commercial. Her face is all like wrinkled up, like, and everybody's just smoking a cigarette, like trying to make $1. Think about it. Like, are you really going to speculate hundreds of thousands of dollars into a penny stock? If you are, just send me the money first. I will fly to your house. I'll slap you in the face, and then I'll give you your money back. Yeah, penny stocks are cheap for a reason. There's no demand. Any other real stocks out there? Yeah, at least the casino gives you free drinks, no doubt. At least they give you a casino, will give you a buffet or something, right? It's just a miserable crowd of people. And again, crypto, I know really successful crypto traders that all they do is short these pieces of crap crypto. Like, they'll wait for, GSF, whatever, C pop stock, and then they'll short it. And that's honestly the funny thing, because it's really hard to short sometimes penny stocks, but not penny crypto. No. You can short penny crypto. So if you want to actually get into that lifestyle, there it is. Free drinks is like the AMC giving free NFT. Yeah. How many people really believe that NFTs are the future? Like, that to me just, again, that whole like idea of like you have a copy of something that has a right on something where I can just make a copy myself. Like, what, huh? That's like saying, I'm going to designate this watermelon as the best watermelon in the world, and it's going to trade more valuable than another watermelon? I don't know. Oh, yeah, nice. We've got a spammer. I must be getting popular. What do we do? Let's pin this message. Yes. Let's do the opposite versus delete him. Let's pin it. This guy is awesome. NFTs are a brilliant concept for ownership of digital rights, music squandered on the URL links image. I guess. I'm just an old idiot. I just pinned this guy's message. Reminds me of the 2-liter bottle of soda if you open up a 21% credit card. Yeah, I mean, it's just unreal. Let's pull up some names real quick, and then we'll end it. Unless someone has like a specific name other than NFGC, I'm going to now delete this because I thought it was funny. And you, sir, get the ban. Boom. You have been banned. Man, that was... You know how the hammer feels light in your hand when you're swinging it? That's how it felt there. Just that was easy to press. SMH, yep. People on the Discord rumor, it's like it's lagging. Yep. Buy the rumor, sell the news. I mean, there's no... I mean, again, here's where this is where it's a little tricky. I'm like, come on, you got the volume of the sellers, but now we have to get lifted up because of the market being pulled higher. What's the upside in the SMH? Maybe 250s. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Keep in mind, the CHIPS Act might be probably the stupidest thing they could have done. Because when chips peak out, they trade like a commodity. Like, nobody makes a crappy chip anymore, right? Nobody makes, like, think about it. They all make great chips. Well, at the peak of this stuff, what's the point? Like, now you were going to push out more inventory? It'd be like the Housing Act of 2008. Like, let's create more houses in 2008. Like, okay, right? Like, that doesn't really do anything. Now, I guess it's, we always know it's a security thing to build here, but it's not, doesn't mean the companies themselves are going to do well. Because ultimately what happens, right? Like, in the end, chips, that's why, if you're not familiar with how fun AMD is to trade long term, if you know how to short it, every cycle leads to a what? Glut of inventory, cutting prices, selling for cost. I mean, it literally can get that bad. And again, chips become a commodity, right? Think of what happens at a commodity glut, right? Like, you guys remember oil? Future selling for negative? Like, people take our oil, we'll pay you. We can't store it. Now, are we at that point in chips? Clearly not. But chips become a commodity. And commodities become chips? No. Does this make sense? Here you go. We talked about the 20-month. Everything is back at fibs, 20 months, whatever. I mean, when you zoom out on these charts, when you have the confluence of all these things, now again, if you're using the monthly chart, right? Well, does that mean it has to happen right now in August? Can I get a, I hope so? Again, meta lagging. Can't get over the 180s. Remember how we talked about this is as like a bellwether of the market's going higher, but as long as this thing holds the bottom, it's showing you the market's not going to peel off. Well, now it's up at the range highs, 180s, and it can't go anywhere. A risk-on name like Roblox hits resistance. Maybe this is the blow off with volume. Now you're stuck at, oh God. Now it can't get over 50, right? Microsoft. I'm just going to run through all these. You guys know if you're in the Discord room. We're getting into levels, 200-day. You don't really have that much room. Yeah, it has to hold 155 or it's dead. Dead. And that's what I think. That's what I put in my charts. Here you go, 200-day. You can see the point of control here. I don't have it drawn. You can see all this crap right in here. Oh, no. Let me just connect that. It's drawing above it, but you get what I'm saying. Like, this is going to be the points that matter. Somewhere in this range. How much higher? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Here's the arc. I've talked about this, that you better... I mean, Noah's not showing up to save... what's her name? Kathy Wood. He's not showing up. This is just ugly, folks. This is ugly crap. Tesla, someone said 940. Oh, shit. Hold on. Did I get my fill on my... No. God damn it. I want to get my fill on my Tesla Q calls. Here we go. Notice it's ripping back on light volume. I mean, here, if you wanted to actually... Here, let's live. Let's take this live and actually pull up the chart here. The point of control is right. Here you go. I mean, I would be at... I mean, if you want to short this thing, I don't blame you. I mean, I'm getting... Whoa, getting a lot of comments on the chain room. Yep. Here you go. Oh, how did I not block you? Crap. How did you come back? Remove. Get out of here. Get out of here with your devil messages. Foosball's the devil. How do I put user in timeout? There we go. Cool. I don't want to see that crap anymore. Here you go. This is your point of control. Tesla breaks out, going higher. If you want to short it, here you go. Now, here's how I would do it. Damn it. This is going to might take 20, 30 minutes. Let me zoom into the 1 minute chart. Wrong. No. What I want to see, because look at this. I mean, you're either going to get a blow off, come back. Hold on, someone just sent me something. What is this? The call will be. Good call. I don't know what that is. Here you go. You see how it can take hours. You can get a test or it blows out. So here you go. Like if you wanted to short, this is how I would do it. When in doubt, zoom out. Yeah. I would take, now here you go. I would take a quarter of my position right now. Knowing that, all right, if it gets over like 340, I'm gone. The biggest problem here though, with ideally trying to wait 10, 20, 30 minutes and play the 10-minute game here is what? Velocity begets velocity. You hit that wall and it's old support resistance, it might pull back pretty quickly. It could retest later. That becomes the question that everybody wants to know, the $1 million question. Does it retest? I don't know. But notice like here, when you go and just went and it pulled back, and then you got the retest later. So, I mean, at this point, how strong of a move is that? All I see is green. All I see is green, green, green. That's all I'm seeing. Oh, this is the hourly. Man, I apologize for that. Here it is. Perfect. Yes. Now you have the wick. Great. Here it is, right? So now what? If you're trading this, you know how to layer in, right? You know how to layer out. If I was taking short, I mean, I think that's the spot. I mean, this is this. Man, God, that's a juicy bone there. I'm trying to put some on my other computer, put some orders through. Let's see if I can get something here. I really want these damn Tesla. Their calls on the Q, Tesla Q, just a few of them. Just give me something. I don't want to overpay. How about $4 for those 38s? No? Jesus. Market maker is not friendly on this thing. Yeah, I might just have to do shares on the Tesla Q. I guess 37.80 is pretty safe. Don't chase the reversal or let it come to you. I think we're in a scenario 2 as mentioned. Chop top. Potentially. I mean, I look at Tesla like you do. I'm using the wrong mouse. I apologize. This is like, I got computers on computers. On computers. I mean, look where we're at. These fibs aren't right. I apologize. It's getting quiet. Focus in here. When in doubt, zoom out. Do we get to that 618? That becomes the $1 million question, actually. The whole crap about 50% fibs. No, the 50% fib is not as important as the 618 when it comes to like full retraces. That's the last one. If you think if I'm not surprised the internet would just lie again and tell people what's wrong. But no, the 0.618 is the banger. Man, could we get up to 950? I'm going to put some orders and just kind of straddle them through this area from 936 to 950. Now that seems like a pretty wide range, and it is. But do we not realize that, what, Tesla just doesn't necessarily make it easy? Do you want to say that the exact price is, the high is 936? I think that's wrong. Would we not all agree that that's probably the wrong answer? Do we know exactly? I mean, can I pretend that I'm going to be lucky? I think this becomes very obvious. The 0.618, you're not going back to the highs. Right? Do we all agree this is the backside of the mountain? The run it made, dead money. Is it getting to 1050? That's pretty insane. And then you throw in, well, why is Elon Musk selling? Nah, it's bullish. Is it? I don't think so. See how I'm drawing this stuff? I just notice how stuff connects. It's not, clearly just not random. People are pushing the 950 and 1,000, so let's go at an even 975. Okay. I don't know, man. I really don't know. That kind of, just in general, like, again, this whole, what? The retail mentality is the easiest thing to fade in a bear market. That's all I can say about that. I'm going to wrap this up. Keep an eye. Like I said, I don't think you get much beyond 950 if you got there. Keep in mind as well, what? Markets are very emotional. If the market does a spike, it could pop there. Oh, you want to talk about... Oh, absolutely. Tesla split coming on 825. Well, typically what? This is what's amazing about splits is too many splits is a problem. Right? You got to be very careful because when you think about what a split is, think of what it's doing. It's creating more inventory. Does that make sense? Well, I always tell people, like, if you go look at Cisco in the 2000s, you look at a lot of these names, they oversplit. You created way too much inventory. I mean, I'm not even going to talk about it. Do you guys understand why Buffett never splits his stock? Do y'all realize why he never will split his stock? Does it make sense? Why? Because you want to keep it rare. You don't want to have a piece of art and paint it 100 times, right? Like the best artists, best painters, what? I mean, you paint one Mona Lisa. You don't paint 100 of them and devalue your own worth. Yeah, it decreases the value. You don't do splits. Splits are by far a retail trap. Oh, well, the stock, I had 100 shares, now I have 300. Oh, yeah, woohoo. No, you just literally gave everybody extra shares to sell later. And that's where when the game is over, that's the problem with splits. It's not when everyone's excited about it, right? Who cares? Like, it's, you know, there's such demand. It's literally the years later that follow that hurt the stock. Does this make sense? Like, look at here. Pull up Cisco's monthly. The stock probably never gets back to the old all-time highs. Look at this. Split, 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 split. You see the problem here. Now you've created too much supply. So I hope that helps. And again, look at the last split was what? Up at the highs, right? Yeah, I mean, you can think about it from that perspective. But honestly, the best perspective that I think about this stuff from, like, the whole split game is that you're ultimately creating more inventory. You know, think about you and I, Kerr, when we own property on the VALE ski hill, right? If we hold one massive property compound and it's the one of a kind, it will always increase a ton in value. And on the dips, there'll only so many people can buy it. Well, if we turn it into 100 little condos, I mean, the property value, again, overall should stay high, potentially, but each individual piece will have what? Volatility in the pricing beyond what? I mean, it's not going to be very stable at times. It's going to go down more when things go down, right? Because there's hundreds of them, not just one property. Special, you know, think of it like I always tell people, like, look at Buffett. Yeah, you can't split your stock and expect long term to be better. It doesn't work like that. It's all a retail game. And think about it. I say this all the time. Splits typically peak during the peak of the bull market. Now look at here, Cisco again. Look at this thing. I mean, I think it literally topped on the final split. If I could be wrong. What day was that? It was the month before. Whatever. Do y'all see? So where's Tesla at right now? Did it? Oh man, it backed off at 3. Yeah, so it hit 937.90. 937.99. Holy shit! Every time we see these names, it's always 99. Remember, I keep talking about short arming. What was the high today for Apple? Okay, never mind. What about some of these other stocks I'm watching? SMH, no. Interesting. 99. What does that tell you? If the stopping power is below the whole round number, what does that tell you? Somebody wants out. I hear Cisco and get a throwback to the 90s song. Oh, please don't go to that song. I mean, what was it? NVIDIA was a baby back then. 4-for-1 split. Meh. Oh, that's right. I remember this. They tried to do... Yeah, so they were doing the split game too. Luckily, they did 3-for-2s, 2-for-1s, and then it stopped. And then they did a 4-for-1. Luckily, again, when NVIDIA did that, that was a tight... What I would say is they were a much smaller company than they are now. 4-for-1, I don't know. I mean, damn, I wish... Do y'all remember Potash? Is the chart somehow still buried in there? No, it's NTR now. They got bought out, right? Potash. They were like, do y'all remember the 2000s? All of these fertilizer ag name companies were just doing split. Pow. Kapow. All right. Keep an eye on Tesla. Just be aware. The market is in this ChopX cycle. If you're not familiar with how this works, I mean, let me show you what the video I would recommend. Just go to the YouTube channel. Let me see. I don't know if it'll do it. Just type in under my channel. I mean, let's see what pops up here. Slow burn. Just Google. I mean, it should pop up. Options expiration or OPEX. Let's see if my video even pops up. Anyway, it's in there. It's in the trading agent. I have like these other YouTube channels that I have that I don't ever use, but check it out. It's well worth watching. It's definitely in the Discord room. If you're not a member, the link should be in the description below. Come on in. Back to basics videos. How to pick pops and bottoms. Tons of videos here, y'all. Tons of videos. Amateur hour. Hopefully people watch that regularly. Figure that out. Trader for beginners. Blah, blah, blah. Matters real. Back to basics. AMC and GB. Novice gaps. Professional gaps. How to trade stocks. Bull and bear traps. Inside reversal candles. VIX. Last and 3 trading days of the month. Covered calls. Here it is, right? Options expiration. Here you go. Wonder if I can... I'll just drop the link in the... Let's see if it'll play. There you go. Check that out if you have questions. good chatting with you guys. I got some things I need to do. Be safe out there. Just be smart. Just promise me you're not gonna gamble to gamble. That's all. Like, know what you're doing. Have a
trading
plan.
agent. This is a
Talk to
stock
you later,
trading
guys.
and recap channel that I wanted to share to the masses. In a probability
Stream.
game, there's no certainty. Here are my insights and predictions.
Hello all.